Hello everyone, this is Arif and once again I'm here with another video of CIA part 3, which is unit 3, leadership and organizational structure. This is a brief introduction about me, my career, just in case if you just want to know that who Arif is. You can pause this video, you can read it, but my detailed career snapshot you can view on the LinkedIn profile as well, where I'm generally active than any other platform. Here is a snapshot of the entire syllabus. We have around 16 units in the GLIM course, in the GLIM's latest book, and out of that we have already done with the unit 1 and unit 2, and today our aim is to finish with the unit 3. In unit 1, just to have a quick summary, we talk about the strategic management, certain concepts, we define that, and we talk about that how strategic planning happens and how strategic goals you set by applying different management theories. In organizational behavior, it's a very vast subject, but here our main focus was that how to drive work from the people, so by which we can apply certain motivational theories and we enable people to work more productively and get the better outcome from them. So this is what we have discussed in part 2, and in part 3 we will talk about that how the organizational structure or how we can organize the entire organization into different structure, what leadership style we can adapt to or follow, and what are the types of different leadership style that will enable more productivity or achievement of the organizational goals. This unit in itself might lead to a 7% coverage of your entire part 3 syllabus, and approximately up to 7 MCQs might come from this area of CIA GLIM. So this is very important, not only from the syllabus point of view but from your own learning point of view as well, so you can understand that how organizations are being structured and how you can mold your personality and adapt to different leadership style when you are working in a leadership position, or just to observe people around, that what are the mistakes that they make when they are in a different types or structure within the organization. So it's very interesting. So do not only learn the knowledge just to pass the exam, but also try to see things from a different perspective while doing the while preparing for the CIA part 3. So this is the snapshot of the entire unit. So it is basically divided into two components. One is the leadership and the other one is the organizational structure. You can think from this angle that a leader adapt himself as per the organizational structure or the culture, and sometimes what happens that the leader in itself transform in a way that the organizational structure is being aligned to their leadership qualities. So it depends that what type of organization you are. If you are working in a mature organization, then there is an element of adjustment that a leader has to make. But if you are working in a startup where you can create your own organization structure based on your leadership style, there is no good or bad leadership style. There is no good and bad organizational structure. It all depends on what is required and what works good for you and for your company. In the leadership section of the entire unit, we will be discussing about certain concepts and different types of leadership strategies that you can follow to become a good leader. There are certain terms associated with the leaders like influence, power, what else? Mentoring, fellowship. So these are the things these are the certain topics that we will discuss. In organizational structure, again, there are certain aspect of the organization structure from the structures point of view, from the span of control, that how much how you control the people, authority, how to distribute the authority within the organization, what else, size, and structure, relationship, unity of command, line in staff, what else, functional authority, decentralization, whether it's centralized or decentralized structure, departmentalization. So these are some of the topics which are pertaining to the organizational structure we will discuss more about, and we will see that what are the things that best attributes to certain kind of a structure. So that what we will be discussing in the entire unit. So there are certain terms that we need to be aware of whenever we talk in a business acumen or in a business environment. First thing is management. Who are the managements? Management could be any person in charge of organizing and directing the work of other people towards the achieving the organizational goals. So people who are made supervisors or managers or directors or VPs, they are the people who mainly fall under the category of management, and these are the people who has the honors to derive the results from the people. While doing that, they have multiple ways of doing. One is to take to the carrot and the stick approach, where you motivate people through incentive and you punish them on a bad behavior. But there is other ways as well through leadership traits. The second thing which, or the topic which we need to be aware of, is the leadership. As we always keep on hearing that there is a difference between a manager and a leader. Yes, absolutely, and it's correct that a manager is the one who uses his hard power, which means that his functional power, to derive the results, whereas the leader is the one, despite having the hard power, though he can exercise absolutely, but it's that his personality, his charisma, his attitude, how, and his behavior toward the people, that inspire people to do more than what is required. So there is a difference between how a leader take his team to a next level than a manager or a management take its to a next level. However, there is no right and wrong way. There are certain organization and certain area of the businesses where you have to be a little bit more robotic than being more of a emotional human being, because it is demand of work. One of the example would be in army. If you see, there is a central command and where people has to follow their leaders. Leadership traits is another topic where we look into the different characteristic of the leader. There are certain characteristic which needs to be as a common characteristic in each leader. For example, integrity, then they need to be very honest, so people should not question their character. Their charisma, that they should have a personality that is pleasing for other people to follow, or they can relate to them, or the majority can relate to them. And then the intelligence, where they are just not a kind person but also able to take a tough decision when it is required, to maneuver in different politically difficult situation. So these are the characteristics which are commonly admirable, and by which we can characterize a person as a leader. Influence is a very important topic that we need to understand as a leader, because the purpose of using your influence over others, or to persuade others to do what you want them to do, is very important skill that needs to be developed. There are three types of influence tactics that you can use. A generic one, which means that you do not bother about what is ethical, what is unethical. Then there is an ethical approach, that how you can use your influence over others to drive work from them, and there is an unethical way as well. In the generic one, basically we just discuss about all types of tactics that can be used. However, in ethical and unethical, we just classify based on our moral values. Generally, the tactics that you can use to influence other is rational persuasion, which means that you defy the other person, or you convince the other person based on rationality, based on facts, based on figures, based on statistics. So this is how you try to justify that what they are supposed to do. Coalition tactics is when you influence the other people through different groups. As we know that in the US has coalition partner across the globe, so this is how they persuade everyone to follow their agenda. Upward appeal is when you appeal or you please your bosses. This is another way of getting things done, because when you please them enough that they cannot say no to you, and then you ask them certain kind of work. Now the context matter and the intention matter, that whether you want to do it for an ethical reason or for unethical reason. Direct request, when you simply go to your subordinate and ask them to do something. So this is called an influence, where you use your power to ask someone to do something. Consultation is where we have an issue and we go to our team and we ask them for their feedback and see that what could we take as an approach to solve that problem. So this is called consultation. Inspirational appeal is when you have a charisma, you have a personality, and you influence other people through your own leadership style, and people are convinced to follow you without too much of a questioning, and they want to give their 100% in what you are asking them, just because they believe in you, they want to be like you, or they follow you. You can see this in terms of, there are certain CEOs which are pretty inspirational in their nature. You can hear a lot of stories about, one of my favorite is Ratan Tata, but there are many. Even Jack Ma, I love him as a leader. But there are many that you can use as an inspirational. So these are the leaders which can drive out of anything from their team based on their personality and charisma. Then we have pressure tactics, where it could be again used in a negative connotation, where you threaten them that you will withhold their bonuses this year, or their performance rating will be down if they do not do, or you just threaten them of termination or lack of promotion. So these are the tactics which you can use. These are not advisable, but there are certain kind of situations or certain personalities where you have no choice left. So this should be something that the last resort you use, not as a first thing, unless until they do a grave mistake. Exchange tactic is where you offer them in exchange to something, or they offer you in exchange to something. For example, in the customer, you offer to your customer that if they buy a bulk quantity, then you will give them a good discount. So this could be an influence way to direct their behavior. We can see this a very common approach when we have buy two get one free, that kind of a sale. So this is called an exchange tactics, which is used to influence behavior on customers, from employees as well at times, that we motivate them to do extra hours through double pay hours or night shifts, so they can have a full day off. So these are the things which you can use. And ingratiating tactics are when you appreciate the other person. I would try to be politically very correct. When you appreciate the other person, so they can, so you can ask them, you can please them in a way that, or you just, for example, you go for an interview and you had an interview, and then you appreciate the interviewer. You say that you were very helpful, very kind. So this is called ingratiating tactics, where either you please your boss or anyone else. Be it ethical or unethical, it depends on your intention and the context in which you are using. So one thing could be ethical in a certain context and could be unethical in another context. So the context and the intention that really matters. So in ethical tactics, we believe that we have to be morally sound, and without harming other people, we try to influence them. And in unethical tactics, where we build pressure on people, we use force, as similar to the law enforcement authority at times, or sometimes we bribe them to do something, or sometimes we become overly friendly and likable to people so they cannot say no to us. So these are the way of uh, exerting your influence on others people to drive certain outcome. Another way of influencing people by the leader is the use of the power. There are two types of power. One is the hard power, which comes with your job and your authority, and the second one is the soft power, where you use your personality, your character, your charisma to influence other people. Which one is good? There is no good and bad. It's depending that how you balance between both. But generally, we tend to prefer to have things done through soft power, because then it brings more happiness within the team. People are more calm, and at the end of the day, we are human, we are not robots, so we can only listen to the instruction without having a rationality that whether it makes sense or not. So in terms of hard power, always remember it comes through your line of authority or responsibility, where you ask people to do certain things, you have the resources, you have the authority to punish them or to limit their behavior, negative behavior, through certain means or measures. Whereas soft behavior, in soft power, you use your personality, your communication style, your honesty, your integrity, by which you influence other people that what is right thing to do. So this is also a leader. This is how a leader has to decide that which tactic he has to use while exerting his power on other people. There are three types of leaders' behavior that they can follow in directing and asking people to do what they wanted them to do. One is autocratic leadership style, which means that the leader decide everything and they just want other people to follow. Just take an example of a pharaoh. He wanted to build pyramids and he just want them to do so. So this is called autocratic leadership style. This leadership style you can find in very formalized structure, where you have a very common goal needs to be achieved. This can be applied in the armed forces as well. So there are certain situations in which you need such kind of leadership style. Democratic leadership is when people you reach out to the people for the opinion to form a decision. This is the normal democracy. This is how the normal democracy works. So if the majority believes that this is how it has to be done, then that become part of the rules. Laissez-faire leadership, this is a French word that let people do whatever they want to do or however they want to choose to do, in which you let people do whatever good for them is. This might help in certain situations. For example, in a creative environment where you are in a movie making, or you are in a songwriting, or you are an artist painting, musician, where you let people do what they choose to do, and you just wish for that the final outcome become an amazing thing, a masterpiece. So this is another leadership style, where you do not seek for their opinion, you do not direct them, you give them a situation and let them do whatever they want to do or choose to do. So these are the three behavior that a leadership can transform or can take in different situation as per the need. Contingency leadership theory basically defines that our leadership style needs to be adaptable to different situations, circumstances, and the need of the followers. We cannot have a constant one way of directing people. However, that needs to be molded to the situation or the characteristic of the follower. There are three popular approaches to that. One is the theory by the Fiedler contingency, which is more inclined toward that we have to look at the leader, the situation in which we are, and accordingly we have to change our leadership style. For example, when the situation in a country is normal or in a company which is normal, then we can go for more democratic type of leadership. However, whenever we feel that there is a crisis situation where we need central command, and where we want things to do it very swiftly rather than waiting for the opinions and all the electoral process, we can follow a rigid and more autocratic leadership style. Sorry. Another theorist, which is Hersey and Blanchard, situational leadership theory, which is basically more focused toward the development of a followers, that how the followers are to whom you have to lead. For example, in a very conservative environment, you would rather require a person who exert more authority, and where and in a more democratic environment, if you have followers which are open to their opinion, which are not immune to have a strict command and control attitude towards them, then you can follow a democratic approach. Path goal theory, which is proposed by the Robert House. In this theory, it is focused on that as a leader, our role is to enable other people to achieve their work, life, or whatever goals they have. And we are there as a facilitator, where we have to clear their path to their achievement of the goals. So we could be work as a supporter, as a facilitator, or as a housekeeping, where we remove the obstacles from their path to achieve the ultimate goal. But in that situation, also as a leader, you have to inspire them to their ultimate optimum level where they can reach. So we have to inspire our team that they can tomorrow become a manager, or a manager that he can become a departmental head or a VP or a CEO ultimately. And in order to do that, they have to help you so that you can help them by removing the obstacles, but they have to give their best. So this is the path goal theory proposed by the Robert House. There are other ways that how a leader can influence other people by adapting their leadership style to contemporary or historical leaders. Even the religious leaders. So there are people who are more keen towards following a certain characteristic of a leader that is relatable to some of their ideal. So that could be done, that we can go back in the history and see that how those great warriors have achieved what they have achieved in the world. Also, we can look for the leadership style in religious leaders, be it prophets, messengers, and so on and so forth. Mentoring is another way by which a more experienced professional help a less experienced professional, or a leader, experienced leader, enable his the other subordinates to become a good leader. So this is a way of helping other people through your experience, through your guidance and support. Followership is very much important attribute that leaders have, that they have a masses of people that follow them, and without a follower you can never be a leader. So you have to understand that who are the people that are following you, what they want, what their needs are, and how you can be an effective problem solver as a leader to them. Henry Mintzberg dissected the entire organization into 5 parts, um, by which we can understand that how these parts can communicate and relate to each other. So any organization can be broken down into these 5 parts. The one is operating core. These are the people who are working operationally at the ground level, putting their sleeves up, making their hands dirty. They are the one who go in the field or at the manufacturing plant, uh, who perform the work, or at the in services based organization, the one who are in the field and proposing solutions to a problem. Then the middle line are the one who are responsible to manage these in these operating core. They are the supervisors, the leads, the managers, who ensures that the entire work is being synchronized between different operating core individuals, and we achieve our targets within timelines and within cost. And then we have strategic apex. Their job is to make the strategic decisions. They are generally the one, the CEO or the VPs, or the functional heads of the organization, who are more responsible that how to drive the organization forward. The support staff are the one which are not into direct operation, but they facilitate the direct operations of the organization. It could be customer care, who listens to the customer complaints, who takes the order. It could be internal audit department, who support the organization by ensuring that the entire controls are functioning properly by giving the assurance. It could be legal counsel, ensuring that the organization in compliance with the applicable laws and are strategically legally protected. So these are the support staff. And the last one is technostructures or technocrats. These are the people who are very techy in their behavior or in their background. For example, the programmers who form the program or who make the programs. So these are the scientists, could be doctors, could be. So the technocrats are the one who are very specialized in a certain area, and they help the organization overall to achieve objectives. So any organization have these 5 core components. And it could be that in a flat organization these components can be a bit more blurry, where operating, middle, and strategic apex is more work at the one level. Maybe a person who is working at the operation has the responsibility to manage that project and also to make a decision about that project, whereas there are support staff and technocrats who help him and support him. So it could be a blurry or it could be hardcore distinction within the organization. Henry Mintzberg has defined the organization structure into 5 types. One is simple structure, which is generally a flat structure where there is less formalization, less differentiation of tasks, where people work collaboratively in a team manner, where we have more of a democratic culture. So this is one type of organization. The other one is machine bureaucracy, where we have more formalized, clear chain of command, where we focus on efficiency and results. This happens in army. This happens in crisis situation, where we are in a crisis situation, we want to quickly execute our work. Then we have professional bureaucracy, in which we in these type of organization we rely on the professionals, be it doctor, lawyers, accountants, auditors, programmers, architects. So these are the organization where there is greater autonomy given to the professional because of their expertise and their knowledge base. Divisional structures are the one in which we break down the organization into different divisions, be it based on the services or product or geography. And the main purpose is to monitor the progress of each division and improve its efficiency and profitability based on the divisions. Adhocracy is a type of the organization where there is high flexibility, adaptability, minimal formalization, focus, and innovation. These are the organization basically where we need creative work. So it could be a marketing firm, It could be a film or a film video making type of activity which we might be performing. Um, it could be any creative work where we need less flexibility and we want people to be more creative and come up with the solutions. Let's discuss some more terms in regards to the organization structure. Work specialization, it refers to that we have to assign individuals a particular work based on their speciality, based on their expertise, or to train employees on certain area of the business in order to increase the efficiency. You can find this kind of approach in a manufacturing concerns where one, for example, if it is a garment company, one person is doing the cutting, the other person is stitching, and even in the stitching there might be individuals who will be just stitching certain part. Some individual might be sewing the buttons. So work specialization refers to that kind of a concept. Authority in each organization, individuals are given certain authority and they are made responsible to exercise their authority and to ensure that the results are being obtained. In organization, the authority flows from the top to the bottom, and in a more formal organization, greater authority is being assigned to individuals in a less not greater but in a very refined level of instruction or authority authority is defined to individuals, where in a flat organization or informal organization they were given additional responsibility and authority to be part of the decision making and overall control the process and the outcome. Unity of command means that employees, no matter how many employees be in a group, there should be always one supervisor or one line manager. There shouldn't be more than one or complex reporting, because it increases the efficiency and there is clear instructions, and it's even more fair because one individual is evaluating you, so he might have a good perspective about you rather than you are reporting to two people, or a complex in a complex organization might be reporting to a multiple stakeholder, where each individual might only be able to assess based on their interaction with you or their level of work with you. So unity of command demands that each employee has one supervisor and they are responsible to direct their behavior and to assess them as well. Span of management is another concept in which which refers to the number of subordinates a manager is responsible for. A wider span of management happens in flatter organization, or which are more democratic organization where individuals are given more autonomy. And a narrow span of management happens where there is a lot of bureaucracy and a formal organization, similar to the government structures where there are a lot of titles, and under each title, obviously when there will be a lot of hierarchy, then the span of individuals who are reporting to each line manager will decrease. So this is a distinction, and we have to see that based on the structure of the organization which way is better, whether it be a narrow or a wide span of management. Size and structure relationship is very important in the organizational structure. What happened that when the size of the organization increase, it needs to have that formality and a taller structure, where there is where there is narrow span of management means more hierarchy, more leaders within the organization, and the command and the control should be very formalized. Whereas if the size is small, then it's more informal, and so the structure defines that how the organization size is, and based on that we can determine that how we can structure the organization. Generally, if you see in the startup phase of the organization, the organization is more informal, and has a wide span of management, whereas in well-established and pretty complex organization, it is more tall and has more, I would say, autocratic kind of a culture within the organization. In organization also we have to understand, like similar to the influence, where we talk about that the organization leaders can influence in a different way. They could be ethical, unethical, or inspirational. Similar to that, in the organization, the managers or the leaders within the organization can exert their command formally. We call it formal authority, by using their authority over the individuals in giving them perks or punishing them for undesired behavior or outcome. Or they can use informal authority, which means through their personal attributes, through their charismatic personality, honesty and integrity, or personal values, they inspire people to do good or to do more. So that could happen also. Functional authority is where the authority is granted based on expertise or specialized knowledge. So where we believe that the individual is capable enough and they have the technical know-how, then they can exert their authority over others, because based on his technical competence, maybe a surgeon can exert a formal authority over other people when he's in a surgery room, because the onus is on him and he has the expertise and it's a very technical field. So that could happen as well. So there are three types broadly we can define: a formal and informal, but generally, and the functional one as well. But generally, what we do in real life, we do not stick to one authority. We use a blend of certain formal, certain informal, certain based on our competence and expertise. Within an organization, the decision making could be either centralized, means that there is one at the top who make the decision and everyone has to follow, or it could be a decentralized, where we ask for the feedback and opinion of the individuals within the team and come up with a solution. Both has benefits and drawbacks. The benefits in the centralized one is it's effectively controlled, it has reduced cost and focus on successful operation, where the cost associated is lack of local knowledge, especially if you have a company which are operating in 5 different countries and you want to have a centralized command to all 5. There might be certain peculiarities or certain differences that we have to take into account and make a decision a bit more suitable for each geography, and decrease morale, because people do not like to be treated like slaves. So this could be a problem with the centralized decision making. Decentralized, where it's more collaboratively, but again it has also its drawbacks, that it's time consuming, it's difficult to control, and it even leads to more cost as well. In the organization, what we do is basically we again take a blend of, in different aspect of the decision making, we go for either centralized decision making or sometimes decentralized decision making. And some organizations, they break down their structure when they are hugely big into SBUs. SBUs are strategic business units, which means that they break down the entire formal organization through different grouping. It could be through product, through services, through geography, and then each unit has some level of autonomy and they can customize certain aspect of their decision making to suit their environment. So that could be best blend of both centralized and decentralized, because overall they are centralizedly controlled, but again then they are given certain freedom where they can specialize and they can adapt to their local environment. Another topic of discussion is departmentation, which means that we organize the organizational activities uh, by grouping individuals to do a similar task. If you see any typical organization, there is an HR department, there is an finance department. It is because these individuals, they do similar kind of a work and for a similar goal. There could be three types by which we can achieve this departmentalization. Either be vertical functional structure, which means that um, it's a bit more strict and there is a proper line of controls, and it's more formal, similar to the tall organization. Divisional structure is where we have flexibility, though we fall that the division as a whole has to follow the um, uh, group mandate, but the division below a certain level have the autonomy to do what they want to do. For similar, as I have given you the example of the SBUs, so that could be a divisional structure. A matrix approach is where we combine the benefits of both. So we have a vertical structure and then we have a divisional structure, which means that um, there is a formal authority which control the individuals, the last person in the hierarchy. But again, that formal structure also required to report to the group level. So it could be that you have a regional company where there is a CEO, there are different departments, and each one is responsible for the achievement of overall that company goals and objective. But again, that company reports to the group, and the groups want to have certain kind of a control. So individuals within that company, within that department, might be reporting to their group head of HR or head of finance. So this is called matrix structure, where you have either dual or sometimes even multiple type of reporting to a different stakeholder within the group. One more popular way of letting people do the job or to get things done from them is through teaming, which means that we ask certain people to become a team, and then we assign them a common goal to achieve within that team. It has its own advantages and disadvantages. For example, in a team, our motivation level is high. People are more collaboratively, they own their outcomes. Whereas disadvantages is to have that politics within the team, conflicting personality, coordination sometimes is difficult. So this could be, and sometimes people does not take the responsibility for their work. So there are different approaches that we can use in order to ensure that we, while having a team, we still minimize the negative aspects of teaming. uh, Two types of team. Virtual team is basically the one which are not physically available in today tech-based environment. We have seen what happened in the COVID, where people were working virtually. It also means that people might not be available in the same location but working towards a common goal. Whereas horizontal coordination is where there is no hierarchy. I mean, there is no like a boss and a subordinate, but there is a team which is being formed to fulfill a certain task. Maybe you ask three managers to come together and to work on one project. So it could be anything, or multiple organization can come. Just to clarify, in virtual team we can also outsource our activities to a third party, and we benefit from their services as well. So that could also constitute as a virtual team. Here we are with our last topic, which is about the organizational overall structure. What are the factors that affect the organizational structure? We have studied more, but broadly to define is there are two factors which affect the organizational structure. It could be an external factor or an internal factor. We call it external contingencies or internal contingencies, which basically refers to the fact that in external contingencies we are more mindful about what our environment is, and we adapt our organizational structure to tackle those challenging situations. For example, there is a change in regulation which lead us to change certain aspects of the business. Competition could affect us. environmentalist people, those who are um, pushing towards the organization to be more environmental friendly. So these are the external factors, and the tax thing can happen also, the laws and regulations. So these are external factors by which we change our organization structure. And also there might be internal factors, for example, what technology we are using, what is the production line, what are the equipments that we are using, how we are trying to minimize or maximize the use of manual labor within the organization. So there are factors that we have to consider internally as well. So any organization structure might be unique to itself. It could best work in their best interest. If not, they can look for different possibilities, and there are different ways which we have already discussed by which they can assess that what could be the best possible option that we can adopt in order to maximize the productivity or achieve the organizational goals. And in doing so, the leadership style has to transform accordingly, where we cannot have a fixed one way of doing things. We can mold our either our leadership style or our organizational structure to adapt best to the environment. So this is the overall summary of the entire unit 3, and I hope that it helps you and benefits you. And let's move on to the last concluding point. So I would like to thank you for being stick to these videos and working hard toward your certification. Just keep on praying for me and my family and generally the humanity in general. I'm a bit lazy, I must admit. Apologies for not posting on a regular basis, reason being that I was pretty busy in life, and I could not much do about it. I had certain priorities, and I have certain things and towards my family that I have to take care of, and as a result I couldn't manage to post on a regular basis. However, I wish and I try my best to post the video as soon as possible, which I'll still be pushing myself hard to take out time and to place at least one video a week. And just remember me in your prayers, and there are some other topics as well on my channel on which I want to talk about, along with the CIA, based on my experiences, that how I move in my career, and my professional advice, my personal learning towards the career, also about money management, the Sharia compliant and the halal way of how you can place your money and have some financial independence. So these are the topics which are very keen to me, but I restrict myself for the time being just to focus on the CIA course, so I can depart my knowledge to you, and by that just to expect from you that just remember me in your prayers. Share these videos with anyone who might you feel that benefit from these, and as a courtesy, if you would like, I would request as well, if you can like and subscribe, it will help the channel to grow more and to let more people to benefit from. And thank you for watching, and hope to see you in the next video.